What's going on, YouTube? It's Bushy's mama, and I got a surprise present in Bushy's P.O. box today. Rat in a Hand from Tampa, Florida, sent me a mask, and so that I don't have to wear those ugly KN95 masks. So I just thought I'd show it off. Isn't he beautiful? What a mask to wear. I love it. Thank you, Rat in a Hand. Thank you. It's got Dimash does nothing halfway. This has a pocket and sent two filters with it too. So I'm excited. I got to take off that ugly white KN95 duck mask, and I'll get to wear that because it's got the filter. It's just as good. So thank you. I am still feeling fine. I don't have a single symptom. My doctor says since I don't have a single symptom, in a couple of weeks he's going to do a antibody test to see if I really did have COVID. You know, I think it's something you need to know whether you really did or didn't have COVID, especially when it comes to whether or not you're going to take a vaccine for it. So I saw this documentary on the USA Florida Deer site today, and I was going to watch the whole thing, and I was like, no, I never watched the whole thing by myself. I'm going to watch it while I record. So just in case there's somebody out there that's not a member of a Dimash fan club, you're missing a lot. I don't respond to a lot on the site, but I flipped through it, and there's so much information going on and exchange of information, and it's very good to belong to one of the fan clubs. So let's get on to the documentary. Oh, and I'll probably do it in two parts because you know me, I usually can sit still for about 20 minutes, and this is 42 minutes, so
For me, signing a contract is a normal thing. What's next after the signing?
There was a moment when he and I were in a disagreement, and we didn't speak to each other for 2 days.
I wonder who that is. His dad and his mom, and he's probably just a decorated service person. Is he a relation? I don't think so.
I've been working in the show business for 30 years, and I've not seen something like this ever in these 30 years.
I was shocked by his makeover. It was as fast as the lightning.
Oh, he winked at me. I don't know if y'all saw that, but he did.
It was as fast as the lightning.
At me. There it is. Oh, wait a minute.
It was as fast as the lightning.
There it is. There's that wink.
I'm a very big fan of Dimash. He made a promise to himself, which is yet to be fulfilled.
They call him a man of dreams, but he considers himself as a man with ambitions. But is fame the real pursuit of Dimash Kudaibergen, or is he realizing his ambition to be an inspiration?
So he calls him Kudaibergen. Kudaibergen. I was going Kudaibergen. Kudaibergen. Is that right, y'all? Kudaibergen?
Everyone who at least once crossed paths with Dimash finds that his creativity turns them into his fan. He has the voice and he has the talent, but most importantly, he has the thirst for music, and his gift is naturally filling the space with energy.
It's always easy to work with him because he breathes music. He lives music and he feeds on music. He always hums a tune or a melody even while relaxing. He's always thinking about music. He's a very talented person.
I would be surprised if Igor didn't do that same thing, because he's the composer too, and I bet he is always humming things. Or I'd be surprised if Igor didn't do that same thing of always having music in his head.
This footage is from Dimash's first international show, Our Now Kinetic Voice, in the capital of Kazakhstan in 2019.
Я вам обещаю, пока будет востребовано мое творчество, я буду сочинять для этого замечательного певца и замечательного парня Димаш Кудайберген.
Спасибо, маэстро! Игорь крутой!
Well, they make a good team.
Astana Arena has 30,000 seats, and today it's a full house. The audience is excited and enjoying the show within these 2 hours, except the main organizer, Dinara Adam. She's watching the show from behind the scene, while Dimash and his fans, the Deers, are having a good time. She's not one of the audience who attends the show, but instead, she is the person behind the launch of this big event. She's very nervous at the moment and prays that everything will go smoothly.
There it did.
These trampolines gave Dinara Adam a whole set of grey hair.
У нас же были номера с батутами, вот, и здесь, в БЗС, в Казмедиа-центре.
We did our rehearsals at Kazmedia Center and we had a few trampolines there. Dimash was continuously jumping on the trampolines, and every time he did that, my heart skipped a beat. I get very nervous.
Well, he's a boy. You know, you forget he's a boy.
But I can't just tell him to stop jumping. Every time I go there, I'm anxious to know if he's jumping or not. Sometimes I argued with myself whether to tell him not to jump or just let him be. It was very difficult for me. I understand that he is a perfectionist and he wants to give his best for the concert. He also wants to be honest with his audience throughout the performance, but we as organizers are seriously worried if something unfortunate were to happen to him.
Вот нам это потрепало нервишки, скажем так, серьезно.
Dinara tried in every possible way to discourage Dimash from jumping on the trampoline and risk falling down the stage during the opening of his concert. But he disagreed. They even argued with each other, but Dimash was still adamant with his decision.
You know, there's a squirrel right outside my window, looking at me. If Dimash had hurt himself, he would have gone on with the show, and well, you know, if it was a break or a minor thing, not a terrible accident, or sprain, he would have somehow figured out how to go on with the show. Plus, you know, I don't know, he's a boy. That's all I have to say.
Был у нас эпизод, когда мы с ним зашли, скажем так, в зону конфликта.
There was a moment where he and I disagreed, and we didn't speak to each other for 2 days while we were preparing for the concert. Instead of speaking to each other, we asked other people to speak for us. We had a discussion about the performance. He wanted to fly up to the rockets and space above, and he proposed the idea of falling down from above as part of the opening scene of the concert. The fact that he wanted to fall.
Интро, просто обратите внимание,
He wanted to free fall from above?
где он летит вниз.
Poor lady.
Вот, чтобы вы знали, все Адам Медиа там трясло.
When everyone at Adam Media heard that, they all shook with fear. We could accept that he wanted to fly over the stadium because it wasn't as scary as it sounded. We could see everything clearly from above, but the stunt that he proposed, I don't know how I'm still breathing. But his persistence taught us one thing. He gives his all from start to finish. Everything he does it as best as he can.
Да, все, что я делаю максимально хорошо. Вот этот его перфекционизм. Ну, я уже, будучи взрослой...
He is a perfectionist, but as an adult, I have to say that this is not always a good character. Although I do want to live a perfect life. But for him, he is that kind of person, a perfectionist.
Вот, по-честному. Он так умеет.
Dimash's personal relationship with others is built over his sincerity. For example, Alexander Reva confessed that when he heard Dimash's voice for the first time on the internet, he thought that the voice was edited using a computer program. He didn't believe that a person can have such high notes in vocal range. But when he saw and heard Dimash's performance live, he simply couldn't believe what he heard.
Физиологически он.
Well, that's just like the rest of us. None of the rest of us could believe what we heard either.
Может быть, физиологически он похож на землян, но он явно не из этой планеты.
Dimash may look like a usual person, but he's clearly not from this planet. I think it's only natural that people want to look at him and somehow want to touch him. That is something that artists should accept. There are examples of unique people such as Michael Jackson, Queen, the Beatles, and Elvis Presley, where at a certain stage in their lives, people just go crazy over them. They went somewhere or did something, and people just followed them. This kind of fanaticism is quite an unprecedented event. It's also unreal because I think it's impossible to go completely crazy over a person. Fans who faint or lose their consciousness when they see artists or celebrities are respectively quite unusual people.
Или еще что-то. Это все необычные люди и необычные, соответственно, фанаты.
Oh, he did a blessing over a baby? Was that just what was that? I haven't seen this. He wouldn't do a blessing over somebody, but he was gushing over them. How cute. I'm not sure if he'd do a blessing or not, but I
Благодаря
didn't see
моим
this.
родителям досталась способность чувствовать по голосу, по глазам, по...
But I thank God, I thank my parents that I am able to feel people's sincerity just by listening to their voice and looking in their eyes. I've made several mistakes in the past, but I believe that these are lessons that I've learned from. But after talking to Dimash, I find that he's a very humble and unique person.
Это очень необычный.
The friendship between Dimash Kudaibergen and Alexander Reva looks like a paradox from the outside because the way they perform is very different from each other. It seems like they have nothing in common, but that's what makes their friendship unique. It's a different energy, says the Russian showman.
Я думаю, я фанат. Я вообще к фанатизму, опять же, слово «фанат» можно назвать.
I'm a very big fan of Dimash Kudaibergen. You can interpret it in different ways, but I'm his fan. I actually like the word fan. I like his creativity. I call myself as a fan of the world of Dimash. We both had mutual energy when we first met, and in 1 second, 1 minute, we felt like we've known each other for a long time, and we quickly became friends. He told me that he's a fan of my creativity, and I told him I'm a fan of Dimash, and he was very modest about it. That made me realize who this man really was.
Та скромность. Ну, я сразу понял, кто этот человек.
Я его фанат, он вообще.
Я его фанат.
Вам надо сделать дуэт, точно.
А может быть, мало ли, вдруг.
Khizri Baitaziev described Dimash Kudaibergen as a man of few words, and he always does things in his own style. Khizri regards himself not as a producer but a promoter. He does not popularize a person, but he can definitely recognize a star among hundreds of people, as if spotting a diamond in the dirt or a needle in a haystack. Once he identifies a person, he helps that person to rise to new heights. Khizri has been organizing shows and concert tours, which are mostly in Russia, for famous artists for more than 30 years.
And if it wasn't for the stupid pandemic, he'd be having more here in this United States. Those lucky New Yorkers, well, those lucky people who knew of Dimash at that time.
Димаш это тот такой, но я не хочу оно, извините меня за сравнение.
Excuse me for this comparison, but Dimash is like, alright, what was the best thing during the USSR? Ballet, Bolshoi theater, circus, and other things. But there was always something missing. Dimash is also something like that. Something that is not enough in the world that already has everything.
В мире, который все есть.
It seems like a pattern has been established.
I haven't seen this
First,
outfit before. I must not have seen this performance before.
people are fascinated by Dimash's voice, and then they try to imitate it as best as they can. And then they realize that the source of this energy that Dimash has is much deeper than the usual singing practice in the shower.
Когда эта девочка из Казани умирала.
There was a girl from Kazan who was on her deathbed and she wanted to meet Dimash so much before she passed away, and Dimash went to see her. It was possible to find 500 reasons not to go. He could say that there is no time for him to go there to meet her, and he could have sent a postcard or make a video message for her, but he actually accepted the invitation of the girl's parents and went all the way to see her. He's a man of his word. If he says that he'll do something, oh, he'll do it. I talk to him a lot on the plane whenever we fly, and I can say that the way he thinks is like a person who's living a full life. One can learn a lot from him based on what he talks and what he thinks about. He's a great person, and he always tries to help people. He can be very upset when he hears that someone is going through a tough moment. Dimash always said that he doesn't want anybody to know about his kindness. He always helps others without telling anybody, but at the end of the day, everybody still knows about it.
Все об этом узнали.
Nina Bugaychenko is an author of a collection of poems about Dimash. For her, he's like a ray of light that shines in the darkness.
Я не знала о нем ничего.
I didn't know anything about Dimash at first due to my personal circumstances, because at that time I wasn't interested in the world nor the society.
Well, and then on the USA Dimash site, there are people who are artists who draw all kinds of Dimash pictures, and I enjoy looking at those very much. And people who are artists like to put their gift, I mean, you know, it's their gift too, and that they are giving us a gift. Oh, that's very, very complicated to say, but, you know, people using their gifts to inspire people and to touch people's hearts, whether they're artists or singers or poetry people.
Back then, my family is my only world, and unfortunately, I've lost a person who is very dear to me, my soulmate. I filled my emptiness with classical music and books.
И вдруг неожиданно я услышала эту песню, я услышала голос Димаша.
And one day, I heard Dimash's voice, and I realized that I held my breath until the song ends. I read everything about him on the internet by morning the next day. For 2 weeks, I asked my relatives to listen to his songs. I also found people who have similar interests with me in my city, and I joined the Almaty chat group,
Yes.
В
EFK.
своем родном городе. И попала в алматинский чат ЕФК. Так, потихонечку
I was totally mesmerized by Dimash's music.
попала в плен музыки Димаша.
There's that wink to me again.
EFK is an abbreviation of the Eurasian Fan Club. It has thousands of members on the internet who are ready to wait for hours to see their idol even for a short period of time.
Лично для меня концерт, который я сама первый раз посетила, это было Gakudausa.
I saw Dimash live for the first time when I attended Gaku concert. I arrived there at 3 p.m. and the concert began at 5 p.m. Everyone had to wait for Dimash to appear until 10 in the evening. When he came out, I couldn't really explain it. It was enchanting, just indescribable. Dimash sang 5 songs and it went by like 5 seconds.
Димаш тогда спел 5 песен, и эти 5 песен прошли как 5 секунд.
Вы знаете, у меня все не как у людей случилось. Меня буквально к Димашу привел за руку Андрей Малахов.
I have a different story of how I become Dimash's fan. It's different than the stories the other fans have. I was brought to see Dimash by Andrei Malakhov during the Victoria Prize at the Kremlin Palace on December 5th. I went there just to listen to the music. So while I was sitting there, just sitting not touching anyone, one of Dimash's fans asked me to hold a glowing banner. So I just hold it. Then at some point, Malakhov saw the beautiful banner from the hall and he came to approach me. He offered me to take a picture with Dimash in front of all the 6,000 people. I literally hugged Dimash. Everyone was jealous of me. My sister and I took pictures of Krutai and there was a video of when I was escorted to my favorite artist. After that, I became friends with the girls from Dimash's fan club.
Подружилась с девочками из фан-клуба.
В моей памяти, наверное, тот момент, когда мы все в аэропорту брали у него интервью.
From what I remember, Dimash probably didn't want to take a photo with us after we finished the interview, but we were okay with it because we all love and respect him. Then we lined up to take pictures together, and at the last moment, Dimash came quietly from behind and took a picture with us.
На последний момент он подошел сзади потихоньку и сфотографировался с нами.
You know, some things we forget is how fatigued an artist is after a concert. And I'm guilty of this myself in that, I mean, especially if they're doing a lot of dancing and things like that, it's like just one quick picture.
I remember a story that Dimash once told about his childhood. When he was a kid, he and the other boys pranked the neighbors by calling them at their house and then they ran away. But Dimash stayed and he was scolded by one of the neighbors and he apologized. This is an example which showed that at that time, Dimash understood what it means to be good and bad. I think he protects himself from bad influence. If you look at Dimash's fan clubs and his dears, you'll understand that these are all decent, kind people.
Nujamal Moldajan is a fan of Dimash's creativity who has an unusual story. She lost both of her daughters and for 25 years she could not find her own calling. She couldn't decide if she wanted to do business or charity, and the decision was made after she heard the song Daidi Dao. Now 90% of her products are made to help those in need, while 10% are sold to cover the business cost.
I often cried when I listened to Dimash's songs. After that, all my fears of opening a store somehow disappeared. At first, I doubted whether I could afford the rent, salary, and other expenses. But after I listened to Dimash's songs, I feel like I have the strength in me to start this, and I finally brought this project to life. For 4 years, we have raised 2 million tenge to help children.
Nujamal also learned Kazakh from Dimash's songs. She said that previously she never thought about the strength and wealth of her native language. Now she speaks Kazakh fluently and even thinks in the language.
I constantly hummed one phrase from the song Daidi Dao about internal bleeding. I began to learn Kazakh language because I wanted to fully understand the true meaning of his songs. The moral of the song really impressed me. Dimash always talks about our traditions, and he also includes national elements in his performances. I'm sure that he'll educate his fans from other countries about our nation's philosophy.
See the art?
I'm sure that he'll educate his fans from other countries.
I've seen that is so nice.
about our nation's philosophy, and this, in a way, will enrich the world culture with the age-old Kazakh wisdom.
Не стану льстить и восхвалять до неба. Слова воздержания, конечно, поищу. Но я испытываю гордость за родного человека и радость от того, что время с ним одно делю.
The story of Nina Bugaychenko is very similar to the story of the leader of Dimash's.
Well, I don't think poetry and music are very far apart. I mean, most music is poetry, most vocals, most lyrics are poetry put to music.
Fans club in Ukraine, Yevgenia Basegyan.
Дело в том, что я потеряла любимого мужа. Был такой момент в жизни, это было 3 года назад.
3 years ago, I lost my beloved husband, and it was a very sad moment in my life. I took this loss quite hard on myself after a lapse of 1.5 years. I never felt calm, and one day I asked God to give me something to take this pain away. About a week after that, I heard Dimash's voice on the television, on the Ukrainian television, and it was unexpected because usually they don't show this kind of thing.
Буквально я потом это все сопоставила, я слышу голос Димаша. Я слышу его по телевидению, по нашему украинскому телевидению. Неожиданно что, потому что его у нас, в принципе, не показывали. Я просто услышала сначала голос, подняла глаза.
I was very surprised when I heard his voice for the first time. He was singing the SOS song, which began with people expressing their love for Dimash. I heard everything, and I was lost in the song.
Все, я потеряла.
For Yevgenia, the concert in Kiev was like a breath of fresh air and a motivation for her to live on. Based on tradition, Dimash's fans, Dears, would prepare a dressing room for him before a concert in any city in the world. Yevgenia was so actively involved in the preparation that she even studied the menu of Kazakh cuisine and contacted the airport management to prepare for Dimash's arrival.
И в аэропорту сделали такое, что очень небывалое дело.
The airport did an unprecedented thing by greeting Dimash in Kazakh. And this is an international airport we're talking about. This could not be done without the embassy's assistance.
Там же мы ему вручили булаву.
We presented to Dimash a symbolic mace, you know, the Hatman mace. We immediately named him the Hatman of our hearts, something like a hero or leader. We decorated his dressing room, and there was kaza, the horse meat that Kazakhs usually eat. It's cut into slices. We decorated the table and other things in the room. Most importantly, we hung an iron brand new embroidered shirt. We really wanted Dimash to sing a Ukrainian song while wearing the embroidered shirt. We were sure that he would sing a song in Ukrainian, but we weren't so sure about him wearing the shirt. But then, as soon as the concert began, Dimash came out with his arms outstretched, wearing the embroidered shirt, and the audience was surprised.
Okay, you guys, I have chills. Chills. I knew the story that the shirt, from the comments, you know, that the shirt was made by the fan club, but to actually hear her talk about it and see him walk out with it, what a nice man.
There was a chant, in an embroidered shirt, in an embroidered shirt, in an embroidered shirt, that went throughout the hall. It was a very emotional moment, and everyone was grateful for his gesture.
I am going to stop right here because other things call my attention, and I will pick this up tomorrow and finish it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you're not a member of a Dimash fan club, gosh, just go on Facebook and put Dimash fan club, or, I mean, you know, there are all over Dimash fan clubs. And, you know, one night we had a Dimash dance party where we all tuned in on a certain night, and they played the music, and, you know, it was great. It was such fun. So just think about it. Also, would you please consider subscribing to this channel? Apparently, YouTube tells us that 90% of people who view our channel are not subscribers. And apparently, being a subscriber does help the channel. And so just think about it. And if you like this video, push the thumbs up. And if you didn't, push the thumbs down. But please leave me a comment underneath as to why. And the Christmas season, Christmas is just about upon us. And for those that celebrate Christmas, I want to say have a Merry Christmas. I'll be back tomorrow, but just in case you're not, I want you to have a Merry Christmas. And until next time, smile like you mean it, from the Bushy fam.